Let's play Heaviosity's Fury. So in this demonstration I used Heaviosity's Damage drum kit for the drums, Diva for the bass line, a low strings staccato from Heaviosity Novo, and a piano called Addictive Keys, and I put a different instance of Fury on each track. So let's check out Fury now. I will use this analog style synth bass. I love putting distortion on synth basses. So let's load up Fury. It looks like this. So it's a clean interface, and let me quickly go through all my favorite things about it. So first of all, you have lots of distortion variations, as you can see, clip distortion console, different tubes here, each with a different sound. You have a modular design of the engine where you can change the drive mode, the distortion mode, and the tone, all yielding different resulting character for the distortion. It's a modular, it also has a movement engine, so here you can dial in the movement. If you go here, you can set an envelope follower, LFO, and a kind of stutter gate here, and all dial in how each of these control the different tonal characters, so drive, tone, feedback, and out. You can hear it. So this is the sequencer. You can change the rate of it, and so on. So I really like the movement engine. I don't really use the sequence, the gating here, but you can dial in different curves here. I like using the envelope follower mainly, and the LFOs to set slower movement cycles for the movement engine. And then you have these settings here. If you click this arrow, you actually make the interface smaller, and this actually has the perfect settings in my opinion. You have the drive, how much you add, you have the how much movement, the tone from brighter. Let's dial in a bit more so you can hear it like that. You have the tone from a bit dark to a bit brighter, and the mix. And you have the input and output mode. I usually put it on soft, clip, or limit. Okay, of course you have a lot of presets included as well. I generally start with initial or one of the essentials here. But one of my favorite things about all new plugins, if they have this resizable interface. Other developers should take notice. I pretty much require this on my high retina resolution screen. It's super important to me. So if you click here, you can get it basically on your entire window and close it whenever you need it. Actually, let's look at it in this higher view, resolution view for a while. So those are my favorite features of Fury. Now let's just try to do some things with this synthesizer, Diva, without it, with, and I will play some stuff and try different presets. So let's go through some of the guitar and bass. And if you use very heavy distortion, you can also use this parallel mix, so nothing is basically the same as turning it off, and dial in some of that grit. So now I can play bass. Probably low range instruments like basses Or my favorite thing is to put heavy distortion on, to add that grit and focus compared to just this soft analog sound here. Let's try another one. And by the way, if we actually add some resonance to this, you can get some really mean sounds, like this. I played an octave higher. Let's put an echo delay unit and a reverb on that and see how it sounds like. Compared to if I remove the distortion. Okay, I'm playing live, so sorry about the timing. As you can hear. Super cool. In fact, I think I will use that echo and reverb on the sound just because it sounds cooler. You still hear the heavy distortion. No guitars needed, so... Let's go into another keys and synth. I mean, even if it says keys and synths, you can use it on whatever drums or anything. In fact, just let's actually check out what I did on the drums, because I'm using this drum kit here, and it's a very... Let's see. I need to do it like this so you can hear me. Hello? Yeah. This dry and close sound, but I'm using a preset called Hype Them Cymbals to add some sizzle and air crispiness in the air. I tried using a more heavy preset, but since I use a lot of low range sounds like this, low strings, I mean here without, still very, probably one of the most heavy sounding staccato strings libraries out there. Lfo here, low ensemble, pretty much my favorite for low staccatos. But I wanted to add some more grit, and as you can see, I used the mix engine. It gets too much with 100% mix, so just mix it in, and even dial down the tone of the distortion. But I wanted that almost electricity sounding distortion, static sound, and on the piano, without, with. Here I used piano tube saturation, so it's a more subtle distortion, but it's, I mean, if I play it without, with, you hear that warm tube style distortion. You can check, I think, yeah, it's tube and mellow. Listen carefully for the overtones, harmonics, because I didn't want it to overtake the mix. And of course now this diva synth sounds too much. But let's continue trying some more presets. We can go into the keys and synth. In fact, let's try it on the drums as well. Let's see. What did I do? Oh, I'm too low. Okay, so let's bring up Fury. Let's just solo this and try something. We can just go in here. I don't know if we are in the drums. Just attack the snare. I don't know how they... I'm pretty sure they use the shape module here to dial in the different presets as well. this is one thing I haven't really become familiar with, the shape engine, the modules or the distortion units and the movement modular engine. Shape engine, here you can add some EQ modes, character feedback. But by the way, if you are unaware of what the features do, you can actually hover your mouse over and you see a text coming up above it, which is pretty neat. I think that's something other interface makers should take notice of, because no one likes reading manuals. So this is the future. This is the way. So, and let's say you find something, okay, you like that, but it's 100% mix. Let's try just dial it in a bit. So this is a good way to use this engine, distortion engine, is to use some presets that you like and use the mix engine to do a parallel dry wet mix and then dial in the tone. Because on some sounds, like transient sounds like percussion, I don't really think the movement engine is important. You might add some subtle movement, but it's more present if you use a longer sound, like a long bass note or something like that. So let's go back to this. In fact, I want to dial down the resonance now and open up. I mean, I think one of the best things to start adding distortion on is softer sounding low range sounds like bass lines, acoustic basses, electric basses, and synth basses. What am I doing? Oh, it's not on. I mean, you gotta love that. Let's lowest octave. I mean, it's so mean. And it's even on clean, but I'm just heavy, 100% distortion. I mean, you can also use it this way, 100% mix with a lower drive. But if I do it like this, you hear... Since I have 100% mix now, you get only the distortion sound, and with the tone up high, you get too much high range. You also have this cleanup engine, which is supposed to, you know, as it says, sets the amount of low-end cleanup shrill. I usually put shrill up high because I want to avoid those resonant ringing high frequencies there. And you can also set the frequency where it, let's see, sets the center frequency of the shrill. So usually, I mean, the sizzling, dissonant, harsh frequencies around 6 to 8 kilohertz. You can also set the low end rumble and remove some of the mud with this. But my favorite categories, I think, still are, I did start with initial or this essentials. I guess that's why it's called essentials. Like, let's in fact add the echo and reverb again. Without, I mean, distortion, delay, and reverb. What more do you need? Good analog or warm sounding bass line, and that's the cool thing. When you have a great sound like this, you don't really need to add that much to your track to make it full and deep and rich. And if I hold down here, of course you hear the delay, but also you hear some of that movement. Whoops, I was wrong. Let's add some movement and see what happens. Let's remove the echo. In fact, let's remove the reverb now. Just trying out this movement engine. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is something that makes this distortion plugin unique, in my opinion. A bit too much movement, and you can set the envelope here with the attack and release to shape this envelope, and of course the LFO, my favorite way to add movement. You also have Lfo Modulation, which let's see, I haven't tried this actually. Sets the rate of modulation LFO. Let's put that on like that. Let's put this on square wave. No, I usually like the sine wave the most. Not the sequencer. Good. Alt left clicking works. That's something that should always work in a plugin interface to get back to the initial value. Let's add some more movement here, like so. Now. And you can see the movement here. This is actually really cool. Without movement. Why I'm still hearing movement? Is this engine activated even though... Okay, so we have some light movement in the actual bass sound, so that is exaggerated by this. But when you have... Whoa, whoa, a bit of a... You can even do some wobble bass lines with this. And of course, it's most present if you hold down something, but this is really cool when you do pulsing things as well. Let's dial down the tone to get it more. Because you get a kind of a different attack and character of the distortion inside the pulse. So now if we add some reverb again and delay to this, I think we should get a very cool pulsing synth sound. In fact, let's reduce this a bit more and reduce the drive a bit, like that. So let's a bit too much movement, in fact, because some of these really disappear. Now, could be a really cool background pulse that you could add some staccato strings on and so on. Okay, so pretty much I went through all my favorite things here. I have some constructive feedback which I would improve if I had the ability, which is I haven't found a way to right-click or even hold down, you know, Control-Alt or something to do a quick automation of any parameter, especially these, of course, these kinds of parameters to dial the mix in and out, whatever. I would like that. I would also like some kind of automatic level balance, so if I go through the presets, just a lock mode or something, because otherwise some of the presets can have a very different volume level, which can, you know, some sound becomes super loud and hurts your ears. So some kind of automatic level balance. And then, since I like the movement engine, I like the envelope follower, LFO, and sequence, the sources, modulation sources here, but I would like more targets. So you have the drive, the tone, the feedback, and the output volume. It would be cool if they had, for example, I mean, the tone is pretty much kind of an EQ, but I would like some some filter movement perhaps, or some more movement targets here. The best thing would be you could still have these, but for example have one or two here extra assignables, because these ones are set already, but having one that's assignable to anything I want within the interface. So that's pretty much it. I will leave a link in the description so you can check out this very creative, movement-focused distortion plugin. Anything from light, subtle tube warmth to heavy, twisted, distorted sounds. So that's it, and I will see you in the next video, my friends.